a garbage can jammed in there. Look at that. Now look, I love CitiBike. I've used bike share in almost 40 cities around the world. But something's starting to trouble me, because if you go to Twitter or social media, you'll see people are putting up photos of stations with fully stocked bikes on every dock, with these posters telling their followers that they rarely, if ever, see anyone ever check out a bike. So I decided it's time for a Streetfilms special investigation. What is going on? Look, here at Church and Worth Street in Tribeca, nobody is using these CitiBikes. They must have been sitting here for the last 7 days, and not one person has checked them out all week. And here I am in Williamsburg, where the posters like to say the hipsters and bike bros live. And after standing here about 20 seconds, I'm aghast to see that nobody's using the bikes here. Now we're in Queens, 35th Avenue, 37th Street. I've been waiting about a minute, and I haven't seen anybody using them at all. So I'm gonna say, not in use. I mean, here I am outside Baruch College. What about all these young, healthy kids? Why aren't they using the bikes to get around? Well, if they're not going to use the bikes, who is? Who is? So I brought out reporter Kevin Duggan, who's actually done some research into this topic of the alarming trend of seeing these photos online.
So, I talked to bike share experts from around the globe, and there can be many reasons why one of these docks could be full at a given time. But basically, they describe the way bikes move through the system as tidal. So, in the morning commute, people will come into the downtown areas, like here in Tribeca, and this dock will be full by like 9 or 10 a.m. You come back here at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and all these bikes will start moving back out across the city. So they say the average city bike across the system gets used like 4 to 5 times a day. And the space of one car is enough to move about 30 people a day.
So here I am with Bill Bruno, who's sort of an open data maven, aren't you, Bill? Tell me a little bit about what you enjoy doing.
I've looked at a lot of stuff, like open data regarding things like jaywalking tickets. I've looked at election stats, and I've also looked at the publicly available CitiBike ridership stats. So I downloaded to an Access database, then put only those stats for the stations that we talked about, brought them to an Excel spreadsheet. At that point, I was able to screen out any round trips less than 3 minutes, to screen out any cases of buyer's remorse, bad seat, whatever. Eliminated a couple where there's some blanks in the data, and based on that, I can now give you the daily averages for our stations for the months of March, June, September, and December, essentially at the end of each quarter. So like the first station we discussed is one at Church and Worth Street. That for the 4 months I picked is average at 151.4 trips a day. That ranged from a low of 85 in December to 214 in September. So now we got to Brooklyn and Driggs Avenue North 9th Street. For the 4 months, the daily average was 245 trips a day. A low of 135 in March to a high of 370 in September. And then we go to Queens, 35th Avenue and 37th Street. The daily average of this 4 months was 74 trips a day. And last, but certainly not least, Lexington and East 24th, where we're looking at a daily average of 418.
You can't really just take one snapshot in time of a dock. It really is across an entire day to see how much it gets used. So just one snapshot in time really doesn't give you the full picture.
A lot of these critics are putting up photos, but a photo really doesn't work. But it does work, Bill?
What works would be a video, a time-lapse, because it takes so little time to bring a bike in and out of the station. You can be walking by in any given moment and not be there when it happens.
Time-lapse with a photo, and then suddenly you have video, like we're shooting now. And in fact, my friend Luke Olshan has sent us a time-lapse he did that got hundreds of thousands of views many years ago.
The impetus behind doing this video was for an event that Transportation Alternatives was organizing, and a lot of commentary about how the bikes weren't being used or were taking up too much space and weren't a valuable use of public space in New York City. You can see, for the eagle-eyed, there's a clock in the video, and I started around 5:15, going into 6 o'clock, and the video speaks for itself. That's why I made it, because I can explain it, or we can look at the data, but seeing is believing, right?
Okay, so all those facts and data and visual evidence, well, that is really helpful and smart. But you know what? It also could be mumbo jumbo. So I'm just going to go back to making my non-biased reporting. And we'll see if Mr. Bill Bruno's data proves me wrong. So this station here at the corner of Center and Worth, right near the big time court buildings, there's like no place to dock a bike, and that's because nobody's using the bikes. East Village, East First and Bowery. What gives? No one using them. They're just sitting there. And here we are at Lafayette and Jersey Streets down in Soho. As you can see, no bikes in use. No bikes being used at all. And here we are at the foot of the Pulaski Bridge in Brooklyn, and there are no bikes available. So does that mean this is a heavily used station that people love, or is it that nobody wants to come here and bike share doesn't work here? I'm not sure.
As I understand it, the first docks were very full. This one was empty. We ended up with a daily average of the 4 months of 112.
Here's one thing my in-depth investigation has uncovered though here. Looks like somebody took a bike out and left their shoes. Maybe they're in a hurry, they jumped on the CitiBike, their shoes fell off, and they were like, I don't need my shoes anymore.
I live right in front of a CitiBike dock, and I will tell you that I hear the banging and the docking all day long. And that's, you know, the ebb and flow of people coming, but it usually happens more often in the morning, and it's a lot quieter in the evening because that's when people are taking them out.
Now, unlike some of the docks I've been showing you, this one is on the sidewalk. So that's where they put the CitiBikes. Obviously, it's also where they allowed them to park the cars over here. Now here in Long Island City, you're gonna find a lot of cars parked all over the sidewalks. And that might be because there's a car dealership or there's an auto body shop nearby. You'll see people with placards just parked on sidewalks wherever they want. And occasionally you'll just see residents park on the sidewalk because, you know, why the heck not? Everybody else is doing it. For example, there's a guy here that left his phone number in the window. I guess he's a plumber. So if you needed him, you can give him a call.